Hello and welcome back to another video or audio if you're listening in an audio format. My name is Justyna. Welcome to my channel. If you're a returning viewer or a listener, welcome back and thank you for joining me today. So here today I'm going to talk about the upcoming new moon in Leo happening on July 25th at 2 degrees of Leo. So here in the first part of this video, I will go through the interpretation of the energies happening for us collectively at the time of this new moon, and then we will move into the forecast for each rising sign. So thank you very much, and let's begin. So first of all, we've got a new moon. So a new moon energy is connected to new beginnings. This is a brand new cycle as well. So fresh energy. So there's a little twist with this new moon because, of course, Mercury, the planet of communication, transportation, our mindset, our thinking processes, is retrograde at the time of this new moon. So it kind of contradicts with what a new moon generally stands for. A new moon stands for new beginnings, fresh new ideas. However, Mercury retrograde is against these, against starting something new, against launching and generally initiating brand new goals, ideas, projects, and so on. So, with that in mind, generally we need to take this into consideration. Of course, Mercury is retrograde between the 18th of July until the 11th of August. And during this time, we shouldn't be starting anything brand new. This is a time to return to projects, ideas, goals, courses, connections from the past. Very often with Mercury retrograde, people from the past return back into our reality. And as I'm recording this video, this is the 16th of July. Mercury is in the pre-shadow period as of June the 29th. And I have already had two people who reappeared in my reality out of the blue. So it's really, really interesting. So, yes, so basically with Mercury retrograde, it's a great time for returning to projects, ideas, courses that you started in the past. Very often we start a new goal idea, whatever it is, and we don't have time to complete it. Take this Mercury phase, a retrograde phase to complete this book, this course of study, for example. It's a good time for reapplying for as well for maybe visa, passport application. Perhaps you'll be rewriting an exam for a driving license, a new university assignment, for example. This could be the case as well. Now, here, a new moon, of course, is great for starting something new, but how about you take generally treat it as having another chance to take something that you have already started from the ground. A great, great, great energy for doing so. Now, Leo energy is fixed. So sometimes with that fixed energy in the air, it's difficult to begin, to initiate. But once we do, we want to get through to the end. Think Taurus as well, energy. That's fixed energy as well. So we've got fixed energy, fixed lunations generally can create a certain degree of complexity because we are dealing with heavy energies. Fixed energy is slow moving energy. If you think about an horary astrology question, for example, about timing, a planet placed in a fixed sign would indicate that, for example, in a lost property chart, it would indicate that it will take some time to find this item. So we're dealing with lasting energies, something, whatever that you decide that you deal with, it is likely to have lasting influence. So if your birthday is on the 25th of July, happy birthday. This coming year, it's about some new beginnings. Maybe here another take to a goal idea, whatever it is from the past that didn't work out. Whatever it is, there is a fresh chapter coming up for you. Not necessarily something you are not familiar with, but there is a certain degree of a shift coming up this year for you. And at the same time, if you have any planets, points, at around 2 degrees of Leo, but also have a look at the other fixed signs. So that would be Aquarius or Scorpio or Taurus. Then you will be under a greater influence of this particular new moon. Now I've got my Sun and Moon midpoint at 2 degrees of Leo. So this is also an interesting one to look at. Also, it's interesting to know where your midpoint is, because this is an important point in your chart, which is invisible, but it can also tell you a little bit about what's happening in relationships, for example. All right, so we've first of all here, let's have a look at the aspects. So we've got a few challenging aspects, especially we've got an opposition to Pluto. That's the highlight of this major, well, new moon energy. So here, Pluto is currently retrograde in the sign of Aquarius, forming an opposition. Oppositions generally are about having to face a challenge, having to deal with a situation that requires you to meet halfway. So it's not necessarily going to be your way. Now, oppositions very often are connected to other people in our life, situations. It's not necessarily something that you will initiate yourself or trigger yourself. This could be very well connected to your boss, superior, a friend, or your partner, whoever it is. This is about having to face some complex energies, because here with Pluto is about um, well, the underground energy transformation, death and rebirth, but also intensity. So there is an intense energy in the air that is making us face some fears, doubts, difficult, heavy energies, situations, for example, even from the past. Pluto is retrograde, of course, Mercury as well. So here, a situation might require a resolution, getting out of your comfort zone, for example. And this is also about releasing the need to control every single step of your life, of your relationship. For example, letting go, releasing the energy of vulnerability, power struggles, jealousy with behavioral patterns, for example, as well. So quite heavy energy here in the air. However, we also have a trine to Saturn and Neptune in Aries. And this is actually really positive, because whenever Saturn is activated by a trine or a sextile, this creates structure, stability, and the ability to get through to the end. Whatever that occurs around this new moon, you've got that stable, grounding energy of Saturn in Aries retrograde, and we also have a sextile to Uranus. So expect the unexpected. Now, at the same time here, not necessarily in a bad way, because it's a sextile. So it could be like an unexpected opportunity that comes out of the blue. So also keep an eye open for these energies. Now, here, what I also wanted to mention is that Leo energy is connected to leadership and to pride. So being proud of who you are, of what you do, of what you own, for example. But also with this new moon and Pluto in opposition, this is when many of us will have to face certain fears connected to recognition, visibility, success as well. So this is something that might come into light, because here that Leo energy is a little bit triggered by Mercury retrograde and Pluto opposition. All right, so let's see how this energy will affect us collectively. And well, I've done collectively, individually, I wanted to say. We'll go through the insights for each rising sign. And we will start from Aries. So, Aries, for you, this is happening in your fifth house of joy, creativity, self expression. And of course, this is when you might be reconnecting with perhaps a interest, a hobby, a project that you never had a chance to enjoy, to complete from the past, an amazing time for doing so. So whether this is perhaps a hobby, an interest project, or perhaps this could be also a time when you might be relaunching, refining maybe an offer if you have your own business, rebranding, for example. This could be very much the case. And this is also when you might be reviewing, reassessing your parenting style. You've got an opposition with Pluto and Aquarius in your 11th house. So at the same time, perhaps for some, this could manifest as having to perhaps having to face some kind of pressure that may come from others. For example, this could be about healing your inner child. If you lack confidence, if you feel like something or someone is holding you back and dimming your light, perhaps this new one could help you to awaken that inner lion. But at the same time, perhaps this could be also about having to overcome fear of visibility, fear of getting yourself out there. Perhaps you will have to show off some of your skills, talents at a certain meeting or webinar, whatever it is here. This energy wants you to conform, face some of the limiting beliefs, energies that are keeping you in the shadow. Mercury, of course, is retrograde, as I mentioned a moment ago. So this is also a good time for reconnecting with what brings you joy, what generally makes you feel happy without needing an external validation. Uranus is now in your third house of communication, so a great time for generally brainstorming. You might have some really interesting ideas around this time. You also have a supportive trine to Saturn and Neptune in your first house now. So this is also about building this brand new chapter and a foundation for the next few years of your life. So here, thank you very much, Aries. Now, let's have a look at Taurus. Taurus, welcome. This new moon is going to take place in your fourth house, and the fourth house is connected to your emotional foundations, your home, your roots, where you come from, a very private area in the chart. However, this could also reflect on perhaps some family patterns. Perhaps you might be questioning whether you're happy at your home or whether something needs to change. So you might be having these thoughts coming to your mind because Mercury is retrograde. So if something isn't working at your home, in your emotional side of your life, it will become quite visible around this time, helping you to perhaps let go, release any patterns, habits, situations, energies that are generally disturbing the emotional side of your life. And we've got an opposition to Pluto in Aquarius in your 10th house. So this could be also about perhaps having to face a certain degree of pressure around what success means to you and anything to do with your achievements, your future goals. Uranus is now in your second house of your income, your resources, possessions. So generally, this energy is also making you question what generally what brings you comfort and what contributes to the feeling of stability, security in your life as well. And at the same time, Uranus will also create a little bit of a shake-up in this area of your life because, of course, the second house also deals with our self-worth, self-esteem as well. So this will be also a good time for generally breaking away from any patterns, habits that make you shrink in your life, in your public life, in your career life. So perhaps this new moon is kind of pointing and pushing you to go within, inward. But that's okay because there could be lots of intuitive thoughts coming through your mind, helping you to get out of a certain situation in your life that generally decreased your mood recently. And perhaps you might also gain valuable answers to generally questions you may have about home, what home means to you, comfort, building security, secure foundation for your home overall. So thank you very much. So Gemini's welcome. This new moon activates your third house. So the third house deals with communication, your mindset, your siblings, next of kin, short distance travel, learning. So it's a great time for returning to courses, short courses, for example, learning materials that you never had a chance to complete, revise, for example. It's a great time for refreshing your memory, refreshing your skills as well. Now, with this third house new moon, you might be also, this could be also about retaking a driving license exam, for example. Now, I think with the third house activation, of course, Mercury is your chart ruler as well. I think you might be having lots of different ideas at this time. You might, there's a tendency to overthink, to second guess oneself when Mercury is retrograde in the third house. So generally, your mind is likely to be very, very active. So you might enjoy activities that can fulfill your stimulated mind. If you feel overstimulated, then write things down with all the ideas that might be coming through your mind. But at the same time, Mercury retrograde helps you to reassess, reevaluate these goals, ideas. Now we've got an opposition to your ninth house where Pluto is present in Aquarius. So perhaps it could be about something or someone challenging your beliefs, your old beliefs, your life philosophy, for example. And this would be a good time for releasing, letting go of the beliefs, thoughts, mindsets that no longer serve you, that no longer align with the person that you are becoming, of course, because now Uranus is in your first house. There's this massive shift coming up, connected to the energy that will prompt you to reinvent yourself on a deeper level. And here, Uranus is generally going to help you to break free, break away from any old identities. With Uranus in your first house, you need more freedom and you want to break free from anything that makes you feel limited or restricted in any way. Venus is at this point also still in Gemini, and it is connecting to the nodes by a square. So we've got a karmic undertone going on as well here. And here with Venus, this is about generally letting go, releasing anything that perhaps blocks you from moving forward, anything that holds you back, anything to do with your voice, confidence, self-confidence as well. All right, so here we've got, thank you very much, Geminis. Now Cancers, welcome. And we've got the new moon happening here in your second house of income, finances, resources, possessions, self-worth. The second house also deals with our throat, our thyroid. So anything we put in our body, pretty much. So this could also indicate that you might, perhaps for some, this could manifest as perhaps taking a better care of what you eat. And here your values come under greater focus, your income, your financial security, stability as well. So new beginnings, but maybe something that you had already thought about in the past, in the recent past, even because Mercury is retrograde. But at the same time, this could be, for example, if you've been looking for a new role or a new job, you might perhaps see that someone is going to contact you regarding an application you sent out a few weeks ago. So if you experience delays in this matter, then Mercury retrograde could indicate that some people might get in touch with you with some good news. Now, you might also receive money deposited into your bank account that you've been awaiting. And we've got an opposition to Pluto in Aquarius. And this is generally energy that could bring up any fears connected to control, for example, anything connected to vulnerability or debts. So this would be also a good time for generally reassessing your financial situation, especially if you feel like you're not managing your finances sufficiently effectively. This is a great new moon for revising this aspect of your financial area of your life and letting go of the habits that no longer serve you. Mercury retrograde, of course, and generally Mercury retrograde is also about re-evaluating your relationship with self-worth, self-esteem. If you think you need a boost, then perhaps you might enjoy engaging in activities, workshops, manifestation techniques that could help you to generally perhaps shift your energy, perhaps make you perhaps more confident, more comfortable with dealing with finances, attracting wealth. We've got a lovely trine also to Saturn and Neptune in your ninth house. And this generally, this is the house of faith and future goals as well, your purpose. So this energy can also help you to with some future goals. It can help you align you with your purpose, with the direction that you should be heading. So you might be experiencing a shift in your direction. This energy builds faith, especially into your next chapter. We also have a sextile to Uranus in your 12th house. And Uranus also brings those mental, subconscious breakthroughs. Perhaps your dreams might be more vivid than usual. Perhaps your intuition might be really strong. So definitely listen to your inner self, to your inner wisdom, inner guidance during this time. Thank you very much. Now, Leos, welcome. We've got this new moon taking place in your first house, a very important new moon. It's a very important Leo season for you as well, dear Leos, because of course, Mercury is retrograde at this time in your first house. So you are reassessing, reviewing your goals throughout this Mercury retrograde phase, perhaps reconnecting with goals, ideas from the past, friendships, people. But at the same time, you are also reassessing your future. Your direction, the direction that you're heading. New moons are great for new beginnings, but at the same time, this retrograde is happening here and it's not a coincidence. Clearly, you need to revise the recent past in order to make better decisions moving forward because next year we are starting a brand new cycle on Leo and Aquarius axis. So we've got some really interesting year coming up. The nodes will shift into your sign as well in Aquarius, so your first and seventh house, mid 2026. So take this retrograde to really work on your goals, on your plans as well. But here, this is generally an identity reboot in many ways with Mercury retrograde in your first house, with also a new moon in your first house as well. We've got an opposition to Pluto and Aquarius in your seventh house. So this could challenge your relationship dynamics. It could be a situation that occurs with someone else, with the other person, a client, or perhaps someone from your work or your partner. And perhaps that will require a resolution that will also perhaps require you to meet halfway. Here, compromise might be also highlighted. And Uranus is in the 11th house, activated by a sextile. 11th house is by a sextile. So this could also indicate some new creative idea for your future, some perhaps some luck that could come out of the blue. This is the house of luck, the 11th house, or perhaps a new connection. It's a great time also for perhaps networking, especially if this is an event that perhaps you have already booked before Mercury turned retrograde, so before the 17th, 18th of July. But this could indicate also someone from the past reappearing in your reality, a collaboration, some opportunity that may come through another person. So there's a lot of energy that is also pushing you for authenticity. All right, so thank you so much. Now, Virgos, welcome. We've got a new moon happening in your 12th house, the house of hidden matters, the subconscious mind, anything to do with spirituality, the private area of your life. So a new moon here is about working from behind the scene, going within, reflecting, contemplating. Mercury retrograde is here as well in the sign of Leo. An amazing time for healing, spending time in nature as well, contemplating. So take it easy around this time because you will have a few important events, weeks taking place from the end of August until the end of September. We've got a new moon in an early degree of Virgo and a new moon in a late degree of Virgo. Whenever there are two lunations in one sign, there is clearly something that needs to be addressed, needs your energy. So this new moon here in Leo, take it as a time to just take a break, rest, reflect, reevaluate. But here we also have a opposition to Pluto. Pluto in the sixth house. And just bear in mind, when Mercury is retrograde in the 12th house, very often we feel misunderstood. We feel like we are not being heard. And generally here, don't take things too personally. If you feel like you need to take some time away from the external world, then go for it. Don't feel guilty about it. But here we've got an opposition to your sixth house, and that's the house of health, hard work, labor, lifestyle. This opposition could indicate a need to change your lifestyle in some way or another. Perhaps you will pay a greater attention to what you eat, to your health, to your diet. A situation at work, for example, might require your attention. So there could be some stressful energy happening in your everyday life, daily reality. And for this reason, the 12th house new moon and Mercury retrograde in the 12th house really emphasizes the need to rest, reflect, spend time in nature, withdraw if when needed and if needed. Now we also have a Uranus being activated in your 10th house of career and your public life. And Uranus energy here being activated, it's just a little taste this year, by the way, much more prominent from next year onwards. This energy is overall allowing you and helping you to free yourself from any restricting energies connected or blocking your career path more specifically. Now, Venus is in Gemini at this point, and it connects to the nodal axis in your first and the seventh house by a square. So this is so-called skipped step. It's got a karmic energy, karmic undertone. And overall, Venus here might remind you, especially if you let yourself reflect and think and contemplate. Generally, this is about moving away from any patterns, habits connected to over perfectionism, overthinking, for example. It's about trusting in the process, trusting yourself. So generally here, this energy is also about releasing the pressure for everything to be perfect, for everything to be flawless. Sometimes we need to allow imperfection for things to move forward. Thank you very much. Now, Libras, welcome. This new moon activates your 11th house. So the 11th house deals with your friendships, your community, your tribe, anything to do with networking as well, anything to do with your long-term goals, your hopes, your lack, generally speaking. A new moon is about new beginnings, but we've got Mercury retrograde at this time. So this new moon is about a possible reconnection with some people in your life, friends, acquaintances. It's a great time for generally reconnecting with others, people that we haven't seen, spoken to for quite some time. Opportunities come through others around this time, through communication, through generally interactions with others, through networking efforts as well. So this could be also about taking a closer look at your goals, at your dreams for the future. See whether they still align with the direction that you're heading, with the person that you're becoming or you have become after the south node left your first house. Now we've got an opposition to Pluto in Aquarius in your fifth house. The fifth house is the house of creativity, romance, the inner child, self-expression as well. So generally here with Pluto, Pluto might also stir some creative fears, or perhaps some creative fears, blockages, perhaps around confidence, success might become or might come to the surface. This is your chance to overcome them. This is a chance to face them, especially if they come up or show up. Uranus is in the ninth house, activated as well in the sign of Gemini, where Venus is also present. So this generally energy is also very liberating. This is about redefining your beliefs, your life philosophy, breaking away from some stagnant mindset, stagnant cycles. So here again, this could be a time of some really interesting ideas that you might have, or perhaps books, movies that you might come across. Venus connects with the nodal axis by a square, and Venus is in your ninth house. So this energy has got a karmic undertone, karmic energy, and this could be about releasing any people-pleasing tendencies, for example, if this is something that you struggle with, especially since Libra is ruled by Venus. So Venus, of course, is your chart ruler. So thank you very much. Now, Scorpios, welcome, Scorpios. And this new moon is happening in your 10th house. The 10th house deals with your public life, public reputation, your career direction as well. So new moons are great for new beginnings. And of course, Mercury is currently retrograde in Leo in this area of your life. So many Scorpios will be questioning their career direction, their career path, and especially if some aspects of your goals, ideas, ambitions aren't working the way you would have hoped, for example, this is a great time for reevaluating, reassessing any career, life direction related goals, objectives. Of course, you might be already retired. So this Mercury retrograde and the new moon could make you also question whether you're doing what you want to do with your life, or whether something needs to change. Now, this new moon is also going to bring up some fears, possible fears or doubts around visibility, around success, for example, your long-term goals and purpose. We've got an opposition to Pluto in Aquarius as well in your fourth house. And for some, this could also show up as perhaps well, having this pull and push effect. On the one hand, wanting to follow your path, achieve your goals, something that aligns with your inner self, with your dreams, but perhaps there could be external pressure and that you might have to deal with, family expectations, fear around safety. So, for example, if you want to follow your own path, but this would require you completely redefining and your career direction, then perhaps this isn't a good time for making these big and drastic changes, but rather for writing things down, perhaps discussing them with someone that you trust, reassessing, reevaluating. And remember, next year is huge for Scorpios in terms of career, because, of course, we will have a solar eclipse in Leo in August, a solar eclipse in Aquarius in February. But here, these career and home axes are activated next year with the nodes shifting here as well. So a huge year. So this year we've got a Mercury retrograde in Leo and a new moon in Leo at the same time. So definitely think carefully. Where is it that you want to be moving forward in terms of your life direction, in terms of your career? All right, so we have also Uranus activated at this time. And for some, this could indicate an opportunity that may come through a collaboration, a partnership, for example. This could be the case. So definitely, if someone wants to chat or reaches out to you to discuss a potential opportunity, don't say no. Reconsider, think carefully before you say no, because this could be something interesting, something that could show some interesting opportunities. So thank you very much. Now, Sagittarius, welcome. This new one activates your ninth house, so the house of your life philosophy, beliefs, expansion, travel, anything to do with your life direction as well. So we've got a new moon here happening, Mercury is retrograde. So this could also prompt you to reassess, reevaluate your life direction, your life purpose, dive slightly deeper into what is it that you want to achieve in your life, whether you're heading in the right direction, whether something needs to change. Perhaps you want to learn some new skills. Perhaps you want to start a higher education course in September or in the very near future. It's a great time for also reassessing your life philosophy, your belief system, because there could be some really expansive opportunities coming up. There could be people coming back from the past, also helping you to achieve your goal, perhaps presenting some interesting opportunities, for instance, as well. You might be also taking, this could be about another take, the second take, when it comes to publishing, launching, for example. And perhaps if you've been training to become a coach or a teacher, a guide, then this would be a good time for also reassessing, reviewing what else needs to be done in terms of succeeding with this goal, this objective. We've got an activation of Pluto in your third house. So this could stir up a certain degree of doubt, or perhaps anything to do with negative self-talk, or perhaps if you struggle with that inner critic theme or pattern, this could be activated. But it's all about awareness, and the ability to stand up your ground, work on your mindset, work on your self-confidence, let go, release any negative patterns that hold you back from moving forward in your life. So for some this could generally be an interesting time to dive into self growth, self development, workshops, books, for example, self help books, especially if you struggle with negative self talk, or perhaps if you struggle with self confidence in yourself, in your intellect, for example. Now, we also have a trine to Saturn and Neptune in your fifth house currently. So, this is also energy that can help you to build the or rebuild the energy of the inner child, or heal better. I should use heal your inner child, rebuild safety from within. Uranus is now in your seventh house, so this could also indicate a possible shake up, especially here in your daily life, anything to do with some opportunities that may come through other people, for instance. So definitely be open to any perhaps new partnerships, collaborations. If someone offers you help, for instance, or some guidance, be open to receiving help or guidance from other people. There could be some really valuable messages coming through others, or opportunities, if you will. All right, so with the ninth house activation, it's about having some trust in the process, even if you still can't see the end or the destination of where you're heading. So thank you very much. Now, Capricorns, welcome. Capricorns said this new moon is happening in your eighth house. So we've got the energy of depth and the energy of intimacy, shared and joint resources as well. So this could be a time of a transformation on a deeper level, on a psychological level, even as well. Now, the eighth house deals, of course, with mortgages and insurance as well, and finance. So perhaps for some, this could mean that you might be returning to a career that is connected to insurance, mortgage, finance, for instance. This could also indicate that perhaps you might be reaching out to someone who works in this industry, seeking help and guidance. You might be also reapplying or renewing your mortgage. And with the eighth house, pay attention to your debts, to your statements, credit card statements, as well. It's a great time for reviewing your spendings, especially if you feel like there is some kind of imbalance and disharmony in this area of your life. We've got an opposition to Pluto in Aquarius in your second house. This energy could indicate some intensity in the air, perhaps having to face some limitations, some limiting thoughts, fears, especially around control or lack of control or trust, vulnerability. So here with the eighth house activation, it's a great time for really facing these fears. You've got the ability to face these fears with the depth that the eighth house offers. But at the same time, you can also let go, heal, understand where these fears are coming from, deal with them better. Now, we also have, of course, Mercury retrograde here in the eighth house. This can also help you to change your attitude towards money and towards how you deal with, for example, with any debts you may have, credit cards, spending habits. Uranus is in Gemini at this point. So that would be your sixth house. And this could indicate the need to perhaps change your lifestyle, free yourself from any restricting routines, anything that doesn't resonate anymore. So this could also indicate possible changes in your diet as well. The sixth house deals with our health, illnesses as well. You feel like you want to maybe become vegetarian or vegan, pescatarian, then this is also a fantastic time for doing so. So thank you very much. Now, Aquarius, welcome. This new moon activates your seventh house. So here, your relationships, unions, contracts, partnerships. This is all very much highlighted. Now, earlier I mentioned that Mercury is retrograde at this point. Of course, the seventh house deals with contracts we have with other people. Ideally, this isn't a good time for signing any important contracts, for making any important decisions. If you have to, you have to, but it's better to delay them for after August the 11th. If you have to sign something, make sure that you read the small print. Make sure you're happy with the terms and conditions. Make sure that you're confident about what you're getting yourself into. Now, new moons here are generally of the retrograde phase of Mercury. It's a great time for reflecting, contemplating about whether your relationship is heading in the right direction, whether something needs to change. Overall, here, this is a time for having honest conversations. Things from the past might resurface around this retrograde season as well, and giving you a chance to resolve any issues, any matters, because they might keep coming back if they are not resolved. So we've got an opposition to Pluto as well in your first house. So this also indicates a possible need to reinvent yourself, possible identity shifts, for example. But overall, here with the opposition to Pluto coming from the new moon in Leo, this could also generally make you think how you connect with others, how you relate to others. So there could be a certain degree of shift or maybe some strong realizations you might have about certain connections in your life. But at the same time, with this new moon, you might have you might be having some really important conversations with some people who are really, really close to your heart. Of course, with Mercury retrograde in your seventh house, this is also about reconnecting with people from the past. And this could be your clients, this could be ex-colleagues, ex-bosses, and so on. So this could be also a time when people from the past might reappear in your reality. Uranus is activated in your fifth house of creativity, romance, children. So there could be some really surprising opportunities for joy. Perhaps you might reconnect with an ex sweetheart, childhood sweetheart, for example. Or this could be also about reconnecting with things, activities that bring you joy, that bring you happiness, maybe a hobby, an interest, a project that perhaps you didn't have a chance to complete, take off the ground. So this will be also a great time for doing so. Maybe this could be also about your child surprising you with some interesting news. So this is here the new moon. And finally, Pisces. Pisces, welcome. This new moon activates your sixth house. So your lifestyle, your everyday life, everyday routine, your work, health, healing. So a great time for reviewing your diet, what you eat, a great time for reviewing your routines, daily life, activities, responsibilities. This is energy generally is amazing for simplifying your life, for simplifying your routine, for finding more joy, fun, pleasure within your reality. But at the same time, this could also indicate that you'll be adjusting your rhythm. It could be when perhaps some ex-colleagues might get back in touch with you if you've applied to some roles and you never heard from the potential employer, then they might reappear or appear in your reality during this new moon, during the Mercury retrograde in Leo. We've got an opposition to Pluto in Aquarius at this time as well, coming from the new moon in Leo. So watch out for any tendencies connected to uh, overextending yourself, perhaps overgiving, people pleasing, because with the opposition to Pluto in your 12th house of the subconscious mind, this is generally a very heavy, intense energy. So if you give out too much without, maintaining a healthy balance, you are entering a burnout territory. And this opposition with Pluto is going to make it very, very visible. So here we are seeking a healthy balance between your work life, your lifestyle, your everyday life, and your private life. Now, the opposition coming from Pluto in the 12th house could also reveal what's working and what isn't in your work life, in your everyday life. We've got also Uranus in Gemini activated in your 12th house. This could generally indicate some surprising news, event situations at home within your family dynamic. But because it is sextile, it's going to be done in a gentle way, reminding you that you can build a life that is free from emotional drama, free from some heavy, unnecessary dynamics and energies. Because with Saturn and Neptune now in your second house, and this new moon connecting with Saturn and Neptune by a trine, this energy can really help you to rebuild your confidence, to ground yourself in something that feels nourishing. So, thank you so much, Pisces, and all the best.